regarding real estate industry news and the mortgage rates specifically, we are all being lied to, and I can prove it. This is Bill Gross, the LA Probate Expert. This is my weekly real estate industry outlook. And amazing information going on in the market today. And I will say mortgage rates have been more volatile in the last 6 months to a year than any time in my long career in real estate. Rates went above 6% last week, but they've second time this year, earlier in June did the same, then came back below. But on Monday, I think, or Tuesday with the Fed announcement, they popped above 6%. But in reality, they've been above 6% for a while. And I think we're being lied to as to the reason why. I'm not sure. But let's take a look at the data. I can show what I mean. So this is Mortgage Daily News. And one of the big lies in real estate is that there's multiple mortgage rates. Like mortgages are like cars or like furniture. You can buy them at different stores, different prices. When in reality, if Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac mortgage is like buying Apple stock. There's really one market with one price. Every broker buys it about the same price, almost, but they might charge a different commission rate. And the industry wants you to focus on the different rates to hide that they're changing the commission when the price is the same. You can get the actual market price every day for free at mortgagenewsdaily.com. And at the top right, there is the 30-year fixed rate mortgage and the change. Now, this went above 6% again earlier this week and has been above it all week long. So this is the actual mortgage rate. And they have some great other tools, but this is free. Click on here and this will tell you what the mortgage rate is. Now, here's what's fascinating. This is, I just Google News rates 6%. And here you have mortgage rates jump above 6% first time since 2008. Well, hold it. We're above 6% in June. How could that be? CNN, mortgage rates top 6% for first time since 2008. Interesting. Next Advisor, I'm not sure what they are. Forbes, sellers lose the upper hand as mortgage rates climb above 6% 17 hours ago. CBS News, on Money Watch, mortgage rates top 6% for the first time since 2008. That's interesting. Every single news organization, Bloomberg, Spectrum News, they all seem to be reporting the exact same thing. Here's NBC. Here, not PBS. Here's Business Wire. So they're all saying it went above 6% for the first time, but it's mathematically not true because they actually went above 6%. Here it is on September 6th, about 10 days ago. Here it is on September 1st. It was at 6.23. If you go back a little bit this year, you'll see that the mortgage rates topped this is the 6% level back in June. Briefly, they went from 5.85 above to 6.18% on June 13th. So it's not the first time since 2008. And then it stayed above 6%, dropped back down below around late June, touched on it again, didn't quite get there, stayed below it, popped above again on August 31st, above 6, and has been above 6% ever since. Now, you might say, well, but Bill, what's that other line below that? That's the big lie. The number below this green line, now let me shorten the time period so we can make it a little more clear. This green line is the Freddie Mac survey rate. This is a rate where Freddie Mac, I don't really understand the thought on this. They ask their lending customers, what rate did you close on? People report that, but you can see it's always below the actual market. Why? Because it's trailing. It's old information. In fact, when rates came down below 6% almost, the Freddie Mac finally touched above it, and here they are now and reporting it. And by the way, the survey comes out on Wednesday, and the data is drawn Tuesday to the prior Wednesday. So it's a week old when it comes out, and it's already a day old when they finally release the data. But that's what Freddie Mac, the quasi-government agency, is telling you. And so what I'm going to call this is past posting. If you remember the great movie, one of the great movies of all time, The Sting, with Paul Newman and Robert Redford and Robert Shaw. And the premise of the movie was that they knew they're betting on horse races, but what they did was they pulled the results in the days before the internet, and there was paper, there was a wire, it was telegraph, was how they transmitted news, and they would hold back race results. They would know the result, they'd bet on it, then they would release the result to the telegraph system, and then people would take their bets, would lose money on it. So basically, they knew the outcome of the game before the game was run. Is how they would past post bets. Interesting movie, probably easier to describe if you've seen the movie. But that's what's happening with us. We're seeing rates have gone up, and Freddie Mac's, oh yeah, no, rates are still 5.6. Oh, rates are still... Well, when buyers are looking for loans, they're frustrated because the real rate's 6.25 or higher. And that causes the business to slow down a little bit, but more importantly, it allows lenders to lie as though each lender's rates are different, when in reality, they're all buying the same price product and marking it up a little bit differently, but they're all buying it almost at the exact same place. And so this is what I would call past posting and why I think we're being lied to. And it's really bad. There's another bigger lie now. And so when you see that, you might say, well, why are they doing that? Why would banks and the mortgage lenders and Freddie Mac deceive the consuming public? I don't really know why. I don't have a conspiracy theory there. But here's another one. Bank of America introduces community affordable loan solution to expand home ownership opportunities in Black, African American, and Hispanic Latino communities. Now, I'm not in theory against lending money and helping people who are struggling. In fact, I host a call every week to help people who don't have income learn how to make more money and accumulate wealth in real estate. I think it's great. So Bank of America has this program. It sounds great. They got a lot of free publicity. Every news organization covers it. They're going to add to their $15 billion commitment. They're adding to, so it sounds bigger than what they committed to this week. And actually, if you look at the actual numbers, the amount that the new commitment is, I think, $600 million or some number, much smaller. And here's another little piece of information you may want to notice is the organization, they have a 26-year relationship with NACA, Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. Now, it sounds very, it sounds great. If you're seeing a cocktail party in Washington, D.C. or New York, you go, wow, look at Bank of America. They're wonderful. They're helping the poor people, and they're using this community organization to do that. Well, one clue is NACA is the same company that when all the loans went bad in 2008 and 2009, Bank of America and other lenders used as a front to negotiate the short sales. And another way of saying it is the lenders helped create a mess, and they used NACA as their hired help to clean up the mess, clean up the spill, take out the trash. And that way, people didn't associate the problem with Bank of America or Wells Fargo. They associated it with NACA. But let's dig a little deeper. Because what are these loans? Well, here's Business Insider who tells us that they just launched this program. Oh, isn't that great? Bank of America, they're so wonderful. Okay. So putting a down payment on a home can be a huge hurdle. Think about it for a second. You're living your life. If you're not making more money than you spend, you're not saving. If you make more than you spend, you're saving. If you make less than you spend, you're borrowing. You're going backwards. Now, let's take out, for the sake of discussion, in lending for a house or lending for an investment. If you're living life and you owe money on car loans and credit cards and have nothing in the bank, you're negative. If you have money in the bank and you're not borrowing money, you're positive. And if you have a lot of money in the bank and a little bit of loan, net, you're positive. They're going to make home loans to people who can't save even 3%, meaning in their lifetime, they have no more money than they've made. So just think about that for a second. They're basically barely covering their life's expenses. Then they're going to buy a new house. Well, think about that for a second. Does a new house cause you to spend more money or less? More. Now you're responsible for maintenance. Now you want to fix it up. Now you're maybe paying for all the utilities and you have to maintain the property, whatever that means. In my experience in real estate, other than retirees or elderly, anybody younger on the upside, they go from a smaller, cheaper apartment to a nicer house or condo. Nobody really moves to a smaller property that's less expensive. They move one that's more expensive. So Bank of America is going to take a group of people who have never saved any money or don't have enough savings to put down on a payment on a house. And they're going to get them in a house which is going to increase their expenses and cost more than they were renting. And it goes further. It doesn't require a minimum credit score, but considers things like rent insurance. So they're going to give these houses to people who are stepping up, who've never saved any money before, who are going to spend more money on expenses, and not only don't have a history of credit, which means they haven't been playing in our banking system, okay, but that means they don't have the credit to fall back on, meaning if you have no credit and Bank of America puts you in a house, it's going to be hard to go to Home Depot and get a credit card for $1,000 to borrow money to fix the property up. You're probably going to have to pay cash. If Bank of America gets you in a house and you have no credit, and they're generous enough. Oh, I didn't put this on hold. I'm sorry. And they're generous enough to put this on a no down payment mortgage. And you need money to, let's say you need money to borrow for the month or two because you're falling behind. You want to buy clothes for kids for school or Christmas presents. You can't go to Wells Fargo and borrow on a credit card $1,000 or $500 because you have no credit history. And so they're targeting people who are now stepping up in their income with no track record, who've never been able to save money to date, who have no credit history, haven't participated in the banking system, which also means they're not so educated if you think about it. They're not as educated in the banking system. That's why we're reaching out to lend them this money, because they don't know what they're doing. And then they're not going to be able to get any other debt. Well, didn't we just do this in 2008 and 2009? Why is Bank of America targeting these people? Now, I don't think housing prices are going to go down. I don't believe there's a housing crash or crisis imminent. Now, news can change and that prediction would be wrong. But based on where we are today, I don't really see that. I do see inflation going up and housing prices going up less than inflation. But I don't see necessarily housing prices coming down overall. But in some areas they will. Well, if that happens, those loans are going to be subject to foreclosure. And think about it. You have people who are buying a house, no money down, no ability to borrow money if they get into trouble, no track record of being able to work with banks, and they've never made more than they did when they moved from that property. Those properties are primed for foreclosure. And who are they working with? The same company that did the short sales last time. So I just really have to question, is it just me? Is anybody paying attention to this? I understand we all want to help people who need a hand lift up. I do. I'm a businessman. I give charity. I also give my time. And I teach classes to try to help people along the way. But this Bank of America is a wolf in sheep's clothing, preying on vulnerable people who are uneducated, with little experience, no cash reserves, no credit reserves, and to put them in a situation they probably can't afford. So these are the same people who are giving us the fake information on the interest rates. Those same borrowers today who are looking for a loan, because Freddie Mac says it's 6%, the real market is 6.25%. They're the same people who they're going to lend at zero money down to today to increase demand, but I think in the long run, to put money back in their friends' pockets, NACA and these lenders who are going to have foreclosures on their hands to process. And remember, when property's going to foreclosure, the banks still charge interest. They charge higher interest, penalty interest, more fees. So it creates almost more business for them rather than losses. What do you think? Do you think the mortgage market's fair? Do you think these no money down loans are really going to help people and give them a hand up? If you think I'm wrong, tell me. Put a comment down below and let me know. I don't know everything. I'm not perfect, but I've been around before, and I think I've seen both of these two movies before. I'm Bill Gross, the LA Probate expert. And either way, make today your best day ever.